Hey everyone, Scott here, and we're going to have a quick look at the Lutheran Handbook published by Augsburg Fortress. There's a little bit of information on the back about it, how to stay alert in church, how to sing a hymn, how to survive for 1 hour without air conditioning. You get the impression right away from the back that it's got a bit of humor, along with the winking Luther, and yes, it certainly does. And we'll see, I think it does a really great job of providing useful, practical information with some humor so that you don't get too bored looking at it. I really like what they did with this. If I was Lutheran, I would want to give this to a teenager, maybe check it out myself. So I'll just look at a few things here. We got table of contents. You see there's church stuff, everyday stuff, Bible stuff. So there's things about denominations, praying, living out your faith, understanding the Bible, who are the characters of the Bible, the stories of the Bible we should know. And then we've got Luther's Small Catechism. Picked up a copy of that the same day. So someone got rid of some Lutheran books, and actually it's right here. And I got all these things free when I was at the thrift store that day. They just let me take them, which was very kind of them, because they were all religious. So here in the preface, they explain the purpose of this book, which is to be a kind of a easy to understand how-to, much like the Boy Scout Handbook or First Aid Handbook. It's that kind of a thing, but for understanding the Lutheran Church and faith. Notes here, you will also discover this book is intended for learning and enjoyment. Some Lutherans have trouble doing the latter until they first suffered through the former. That's the kind of humor that they have in here I really appreciate. So, church stuff, and right away, how to get to know your pastor. That's a really great topic. It gives you some ideas how to talk to your pastor, questions to ask. Stop by and get to know them. How to survive in an unair-conditioned church. Dress appropriately, remain still, pray. Avoid acolyte or choir robes. Yeah, I was an acolyte for a little while as a young Methodist, and those robes are heavy. But our primary solution to not having air conditioning in the summer was, I have to admit, staying home. September was a big rally to get everyone to come back. Responding when someone sits in your pew, using the worship bulletin. So yeah, a lot of, some of it might seem a little silly, but for people who didn't grow up in church, this could be very helpful, because a lot of these things are things that we're familiar with, if we grew up in church, because we were kids when we learned. So this could actually be really helpful for some adults as well who are new to the faith. I'm going to look at everything in here, but I wanted to show, there was one back in here So this gets into some topics on Lutheran faith. So some important things Luther said, and one funny one. I guess this is the funny one here. Your manure cure didn't help me either. Medieval home remedies for skin rashes weren't always what they were cracked up to be. Luther tried one of his wife's, and apparently it didn't work. I'm glad my wife hasn't recommended doing such a thing to me. 5 things you should know about the Lutheran Reformation. Life in medieval times. History's 6 most notorious heretics. Luther being listed as one of them. And then that goes right along with that. How to avoid getting burned at the stake. This really, I enjoy how they provide this serious overview of how to avoid being burned at the stake, which is obviously a bit of humor too. So it tells us to avoid public heresy, avoid practicing witchcraft, avoid getting nabbed in a political uprising, offer some tips on what to do if you can't avoid being burned at the stake. If you find yourself in such a situation, make sure to ask for fast-burning dry wood and plenty of dry kindling, because green wood burns slower, smokier, and at lower temperatures, causing a more painful death. So we can see the person on the right has that slow-burning green wood, not happy. She seems not too perturbed by being burned at the stake there. So dry wood's the way to go. Little thing here on world religions. Little kind of just comparative religion, featuring different faiths, how they differ, how they might have some similarities. U.S. Christian denominations. This is, so this is really just like for an American Lutheran, kind of just something to cram, get a little bit of all the knowledge that you may not have if you didn't grow up as a Christian or Lutheran. A little about the difference between the law and the gospel. Yeah. How to banish the devil from your presence. Take part in activities with others. Avoid excessive solitude. Boy, isn't that the truth. Yeah, seek the company of other believers. Solitude can provide the devil an opportunity. That is true. We really do need to live our faith with and amongst others to live it out. That's the way. 7 funniest Bible stories. 3 most rebellious things Jesus did. Rode a royal procession right under Caesar's nose. Yes. It's great too. We have Bible references, so we see we have the reference to all 4 of the Gospels for this event, where to find them. All right. And then this must be the catechism. Oh, there we go. A little information on the crucifixion. Quite graphic, actually. Makes it very clear exactly, why this was such a terrible punishment, terrible way to die. We have it's a contemporary translation of the Luther's Small Catechism, which gets into the 10 Commandments. I've looked through a good bit of Luther's Catechism, even though I'm not Lutheran. I do like it. I like how it explains the 10 Commandments, the different commandments. What do they mean? Provides a little information. And then if you get like this, which is the Small Catechism with explanations, you get even more information and explanation. So, I say I grew up Methodist, United Methodist Church, and that's something we didn't have catechisms. It just seems like such a great thing to have. Apostles' Creed, explains why we pray the Lord's Prayer. I prayed the Lord's Prayer all the time as a Methodist. Didn't give a lot of thought to what exactly it was about or what I was saying till I was an adult. This starts getting you, why are we praying this prayer? What does it mean to pray it? Great stuff. Room for notes in the back. All right. So yeah, I really enjoyed seeing this. Just a really neat little handbook. Sometimes these sorts of things where they're trying to work in humor, they're pretty corny. They're just kind of making me roll my eyes, and I don't see them as being very helpful. I really was impressed by this. I think this was a wonderful little handbook. I'd be buying these up in the dozens if I was a Lutheran and giving them out to people. I think this is a lot of great information, and it's also a lot of fun. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Enjoy hearing from you. And as always, I thank you for watching. God bless. And we'll see you for the next video, friends.